Hey fam, what's going on? How are you on this Wednesday? What is it, like Christmas Eve? It's like Wednesday, Thursday. Yeah, so Christmas Eve. So I definitely am grateful that you joined. This is Marissa Alexander, and I am a writer, an author, and an advocate. And I am going to keep it light because that's what we need right now. We just need to keep it light. It's like 2 days before, Christmas, if you actually celebrate that, and or whatever it is you're going to do. So I figure it would be a really good idea to just kind of talk about some sports topics, because from time to time I will get into a little bit of it as an introduction into like my go lives, because a lot of my topics are like serious, but I like serious topics. I think you can make anything fun. Well, not just about anything, but you get what I'm saying. And so one of the things that I enjoy doing is sitting down and watching, like, what is it, the Inside NFL. I'll sit there and I'll watch that. I love watching like the HBO sports documentaries because I like documentaries. And I feel like there's always a backstory. There's always things that, we don't know. And so one of the things that I do is I talk to my co-partner and friend and the father of my twins. We have really good conversations about sports because it's always a lot of things I want to know. And for whatever reason, that's a superpower of men to know all the statistics of sports ever since the time it was born. So, which you can't remember anything else. So anyway, I'm gonna bring him in tonight, and we're gonna talk about a few things, because whenever I have a question, if I can't get a hold of my dad, I can always call him, and he always knows the history, what was said, the backstory. So there's a few things we want to talk about. Well, I want to talk about, and so I'm gonna bring him in. So this is Lincoln Alexander Jr.
The whole selective memory thing. Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about.
You definitely know what I'm talking about.
Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for coming.
I'm glad to.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So like, this was last minute because I have been exhausted watching kids. It's been like auntie daycare over here, y'all. But that's what the Christmas holiday is for. I'm grateful for it. I could not be here. It's a lot of people who are not here. It's a lot of people who are behind the wall or underneath 6 feet, right? And they would love to be doing auntie duties right now. So the gods have spared me, because my nephew, who's 3, he is asleep. So that's working out. And the house is kind of quiet. And the twins aren't playing video games, which would mess up my internet. So what's going on, y'all? Hey, everybody. Hey, Orlando. Hey, Miss Pauline. How you doing, sweetie? Up there in Mississippi. So I'm going to ask you a question real quick. Let me know if you're on vacation right now, or if you're working, or if you're starting your vacation. Let me know in the comments what's going on with you. What you doing right now? Are you on vacation? Are you working? Are you trucking? Are you actually in your truck driving? Because I know it's a lot of people still on the road. FedEx or UPS just left, so they're still on the road, sending out packages. So let me know what you got going on tonight. So the first thing I think we're going to get into is I'm going to wait for how I feel about Baker Mayfield. I'm going to go there.
Baker.
I'm going to go about Baker.
All right.
But we were talking earlier, and I was curious about what Jason Whitlock had, the statements that he had made. Mm-hmm. And I know that I have seen him on debates with Roland Martin, and it was specifically around the athletes' involvement in some of the, the protests and how they support things. And so, truth be told, I'm more, I guess you would, if you wanted to put me in a box or title it, I'm more liberal, more radical. But to me, radical doesn't mean extreme. It means reimaginating. It means like, for real, like giving myself the opportunity to reimagine what we could do versus being stuck in, conservatism. So gotcha. He's more conservative minded than I am, right? So we were talking about that, and and you said basically you don't follow Jason Whitlock.
No, I stopped following him some time ago. Mm-hmm. I know that he had a show on Fox Network for a while, and you just kind of saw his show kind of evolve and change over time, and eventually there was a parting of ways for whatever reason.
Yeah, but he's been really hard on LeBron since like I mean, I don't know how long he's been hard on him, but I like 2017, he's been really dragging him. And I recently saw where he felt like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was, you know, I guess spreading some level of, you know, division. And I read, you know, Kareem's messaging. What he basically was saying was, if you are in a political arena, which to me matched more of what Jason was saying, then you probably wouldn't want to comment. But Kareem does feel, you know, obviously because when he played basketball, he did some level of, you know, talking about, you know, some social justice issues.
Right, community involvement, and that's something that we should applaud our athletes for doing, is standing up for things that are important in our community. I don't agree with his statements and the comparison that he made with the current president. So that
that was over
I
the
can't
top.
say that I'm a fan of Jason Whitlock and what he had to say recently, but I am a fan of LeBron.
Of course.
Okay, I do have other favorite players, but I do like the way that he has stepped up in the community, and he has also been a great player as well. So
well, you know,
multiple reasons.
Well, here's the thing. I think that first of all, this is a different generation.
Yeah.
And what I was telling Lincoln was, I feel like they're so mad with LeBron, not only because of his activism, but because he really was the one who wasn't supposed to make it. I mean, from where he came from, the fact that he went into the league early, the issues that he and his mom had, the fact that his dad wasn't around. And then on top of that, when he entered into the league and his mom got the car, you know how they were kind of muddy in the waters. And for him to come out with like no stain, if you will, within that first couple of years, like some of the players that are young that come into the NBA, and they usually have some kind of hiccup. Even Kobe had, you know, God bless her, y'all Kobe fans don't get me. I'm just saying, Kobe was good. Don't worry, y'all happy we young. But what I'm saying is that he did not. He continued to, you know, he married, you know, someone. He has kids with them. He continues that every time they throw him something like "Shut Up and Drill," he's like, "Oh, for real? Let me do a documentary series," you know. So he just takes what they throw at him, and then, you know, he basically continues his effort. And then they have their own management company for professional athletes, right? Or is that Jay-Z? That's Jay-Z that has that.
Jay-Z,
Okay.
He has his own studio company.
Okay, his own studio company. Okay, right. Okay. So I think, you know, that's one of the issues. But I will say this. I also think that in order for Jason Whitlock to stay relevant, he has to attach to something that's always going on. And what not to attach to if you want engagement and if you want a level of notoriety, then to attach yourself negatively to quote unquote King James. Because every time you bring up King James, and of course, if you have engagement on his stuff, then Jason Whitlock's name is going to come up. Right. And he's absolutely entitled to his opinion. Absolutely. I think what the problem is that I had recently was he called him unsophisticated, crude, and crass. Yeah. And then he called him, what did he call him? The Black Donald Trump? Yes. Did y'all hear that?
Yes.
Hey.
Yeah. As you know, it offends me as a Black man for another Black man to be degrading or talking negatively about another Black man, especially one who is trying to do as much as he is in the community, and is definitely a positive influence among other males, not just minorities, but just males in general. Right.
And I mean, I don't think that, you know, people are, I mean, his skill set, his leadership is, you can't argue with that. So I'm gonna move on to, we were talking about a few other people. So y'all know, was it Luka Doncic? So he's what, 18?
Yes,
he's 18.
He'll be 19, whatever, this year. But
have you seen him play? Especially, I think I was impressed with him in the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah, he was very impressive under that level of pressure. And so what I, you know, understand is that he had been playing at that level since he was 14 overseas because they allowed for them to do that. And so I was like, you know, what if? So he comes over here, right? He's not at all intimidated.
No.
At 18, what, 6'9"?
6'9".
6'9", 18 years old, and he's like out there handling them like he's been in the NBA for 7 years. Yeah. And I said, okay, well, that's a difference of, you know, culture and what they allow overseas. So then I asked him, I said, well, what is the likelihood that we will see that trend where you will have basketball players leaving the United States to go overseas and be able to get that level of training and playing at an early age at that level? and then like come back over here and enter into the draft at a certain point and just like kill it like Lucan is. And he told me
closest comparison is LaMelo Ball.
LiAngelo?
No, LaMelo.
LaMelo. Okay, LaMelo Ball.
The third, the youngest.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
We saw that, yes, he did have some years overseas, trained, continued to better his game, and we saw that he was a top pick, a top lottery pick for the Hornets.
The Hornets. Okay. So I said, okay, well then that is something that could happen. And the reason which like kind of triggered my mind with that is when we see like a pattern of something that works to that degree, and when we are trying to compete with, if that is what they do as the norm overseas, then what's going to happen is you're going to have actually more people from overseas enter into the USA NBA draft.
We have seen an increase.
We've seen an increase, right?
And foreign players entering into the draft, but not everyone has entered into the draft at age 18,
right?
Coming overseas. He is definitely the first and most successful so far. And we see that LaMelo has been able to show, hey, I'll be a top lottery pick by gaining this experience, playing overseas. But not everyone will want to take that uncomfortable path of going overseas. They may want to go to the G League, which is an option for certain players. But I think that the G League is more of an option coming out of high school.
Okay, so then you still, unless you graduate early, then
I don't know the rules around the G League, but that would be my guess as far as why more athletes that haven't graduated don't go to the G League.
Okay, so the reason why I thought about that is with gymnastics, once you get up to the level of competing that some of them do, a lot of the girls that come from homes where the families are not in the regions where the top coaches are, or the professional US training like coaches are, their families aren't able to up and move and, gain a life there. So what happens is there's a family that's already there, or the coach's family that's already there. And that person, if she's that good, I think Simone was one of them. I think Gabrielle might have been one of them as well, where they left their families and went to go stay with that family. Now, granted, that's still the United States. I understand it ain't crossed the border, but still to uproot from your family to be able to compete at that level is something that's not foreign already. Like, a lot of gymnasts have been doing that for some time.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Okay. Hey, Raphael saying, what's up?
Oh, hey, man.
The other thing that I wanted to talk about was, I think it was around like Carmelo and where he is. I wanted to talk because, I was like, well, how much more time does Carmelo got? Like anybody's talking about him. But before we get to Carmelo, let's talk about, what's his name? All the hair, the beard. What?
James
Harden. What your boy doing?
He is exercising his preference, which is something that a lot of NBA players who are superstars are able to do. When they make it known that, hey, I don't want to play for this franchise anymore, then they follow a certain protocol to promote their exit from their location.
Well, it didn't really work in his favor because now
not
yet. But everywhere he's considered going has been like top teams with like superstar guards already. That's where he might consider going. There's also the understanding that he rubs people the wrong way. So he's not like the team player kind of guy. And because he's gotten away with so much for so long with the Rockets, nobody's looking to kind of bring him on to their program because he kind of has this, this bravado that he brings in, and can't nobody deny that he's a great player.
No,
like that's never been an argument.
Excellent player.
But in terms of the work ethic and the synergy that's required in a team, that's something where he lacks. But then he takes it a step further. And was like, you know what? I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna kick it. And if the investigation shows that it was not a strip club, it was a friend's activity he went to promote. And let's just be honest. A lot of people have been getting together. I think the issue has been, the protocols that they have established to maintain the health and the integrity of everybody who's involved, so that they can continue to play because there's so much money invested in them, right?
Right.
But
Yes.
he went out, didn't have a mask, and I think they're saying that fine is going to be $285,000 if that investigation shows that it was during that time.
Yeah. To the average American, of course, that is a lot of money. But for a top tier athlete like that, that's making 40 million,
Mhm.
somewhere around there, it's a small amount. You definitely recognize it. No matter how much money you're making, you're
Mhm.
definitely going to recognize it.
Mhm.
And so we'll see by the time trade deadline comes along,
When is trade deadline?
usually around February.
Oh, that's a little bit of a ways.
Yeah. But this season is different. That's how it's normally been in February. But
Mhm.
with this season starting in December,
Mm-hmm.
2 days ago, yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
that may shift to
That may
March.
shift. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. So it's definitely not concluded that
Mhm.
he will have to stay with the Rockets. They may find a trade partner. Now, the thing is, Harden is his own agent. He doesn't have an official agent.
Oh, so
So
that money
any-
he would have paid an agent to do all that
Yeah.
285.
Yes.
He ain't missing nothing anyway. 'Cause that's money he would have been paying an agent, but he's not.
Yeah. So any negotiations
Mhm.
that the team wants to entertain, they have to come to him directly since he doesn't have an agent.
Oh,
So
okay.
he will know firsthand
Mhm.
whoever they are trying to enter conversations with or talks with to try to trade him to. And he can shoot it down right then and there.
Oh, see, that's
So
I think
there
that's an
is-
advantage to some
Yeah,
degree.
yeah,
it's
definitely an advantage. There's no middleman.
Okay, that's what's up. Okay, and then the other thing was Mr. What's his boy name? Baby boy that got the opportunity from Ohio, Haskins.
Disappointing.
Dwayne.
That's so disappointing.
Yeah,
I really was.
I felt bad for him because the owner took an opportunity to be like, I'm gonna have him come on.
I really want.
I really
player.
want this kid to come on. If we could be honest, we have yet to see a quarterback from Ohio actually come out and be successful.
Ohio State.
Ohio,
Gotta
we beat Ohio.
That's right.
The Ohio State. But you understand what I'm saying. And so this was his second violation as it relates to the COVID protocols that the NFL League has put in place. So I hate that because he's young, right? And then he was voted the captain of that team
This year.
Yeah, and
his second year. That's big. That's saying
that
a lot.
is that is saying a
when your
lot.
teammates feel like
Yeah,
out-
people like what's his name? Ray, retired player for Baltimore.
Ray Allen.
Ray Allen and all. This is the played for Baltimore, the football player, big guy on NFL. Inside NFL.
Oh, Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis.
So you have those guys that come in and kind of help them veteran guys and kind of say, hey, you got it, but you want to kind of mentor them. Is it a possibility? If that's not already being done, can that be done? Because I hate to see somebody lose their opportunity over immaturity when we get in the world of our normal people, we get the opportunity to kind of have these missteps. And I understand that you're dealing with a lot of money. I understand the stakes. I'm not saying that it's inexcusable. I'm just saying, what is the likelihood that somebody can get him to turn that corner, or is he just going to be out of a job? Because at this point, I mean, the original quarterback is injured and could be coming back, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. Alex Smith.
So he got an opportunity, and then it's like,
Wasn't the greatest game, but it wasn't the worst.
right.
It wasn't the worst. And here's the thing that I would say to anyone: we all need a mentor.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
Mhm.
Even at our age, we need mentors, people that we can look up to and bounce ideas,
Right.
have conversations,
Mhm.
and they help guide us in the right direction. So yes, him being young,
All right.
definitely time. He still has plenty of time to find that right mentor.
Okay. Now this is a topic that me and him had quite a bit of disagreement on. This is old. Who was the coach that just got drafted? Not drafted. They selected him because Doc Rivers was fired, right?
Yes.
He was fired.
But they won't officially say fired.
Okay.
It was a parting of ways.
It was a parting of ways.
Yes.
Okay. So what is the coach that is getting this opportunity over? Is it Lakers?
In Phoenix.
In Phoenix. Him.
No, I'm sorry, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, that
Brooklyn.
coach.
Yes.
And he hadn't expressed any
interest
in coaching.
No, not at all.
But he was sought after and said, "Hey, we want you to coach." And then you had, from what I understand, other minorities. We're going to go with the word minorities, okay? That maybe had some, have been like, "Hey, I'm waiting for an opportunity. I'm willing to do it," or they have had the experience, had been let go for some reason. But he ended up just kind of was like, "Hey, we know you're not interested in that, but we're gonna pick you and go with you." And so there was some issues from Stephen A. Johnson and a few other people. Stephen A. Smith. Don't kill me, y'all. Stephen A. Smith. I know. I get them all. They got too many of the same names. And but he had issue with it, and I'm glad that he brought that issue up, because there was another person that was like, "Hey, I got the opportunity. Somebody told me," and it was like, well. It's different when you're like, "Hey, I want to. This is what I want to do. I'm preparing for that." I sat with somebody, and I was the little gopher boy, and I came up through the ranks. It's a whole nother, you know what I mean? And so you expressed it. You have some knowledge. You've been a co-coach or co-captain, coach, whatever it is.
Assistant
coach. He wasn't an assistant coach, was he?
No. He has no coaching experience.
No coaching experience, and he got this opportunity with the team that just got Kevin Durant, and then Kyrie, and they're looking pretty good right now, right?
They look like they could win the championship.
All right now, so
as long as they stay healthy.
Well, good luck with that, Jakey Bill. So, what do you think about that? Because me and you disagree. Because I was saying, what's the likelihood of that happening for a minority?
It's happened at least once.
That's right. Steve Nash.
Yeah, it's happened twice.
Okay.
Jason Kidd had an opportunity, no coaching experience, and also the former Laker player, I forgot his name, won all of the championships with Kobe. Okay. Derek Fisher. Those two had an opportunity. First time coaches, no experience. So it is not setting precedents, but we were just kind of hoping more opportunities would be available for those coaches who do have experience. There are a lot of assistant coaches, like the one in Houston right now. He had been an assistant coach for many years, and now he's getting his first opportunity. And with this first opportunity, your main star player is trying to leave town. Right. So we're not necessarily going to see him with the roster that he thought that he was going to have.
Who, Steve Nash?
No, the one in Houston. Okay. But as far as Nash, it's definitely not setting a precedence that this is the first time. They're going way outside of the norm.
But this is the thing. How long did Fisher or Jason Kidd express in any way that they wanted to at some point be coaching? And how long did they play? Did they play winning programs?
Yes.
Okay, they did.
Yes.
Okay, where does Steve Nash fit in that?
He played for a winning program as well. He never won a championship, not to my knowledge.
Okay. But
the other two did.
Okay. So the other two did.
That's part of the difference. Great player, Hall of Fame player.
Okay.
There's no doubt about his knowledge of the game and how great he played. And he played for some really good coaches.
Right.
So we know that he has some background. Very similar to Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr did not have coaching experience. What he had was GM experience. He was a general manager before he became the coach of the Warriors.
Right. So when we start talking about numbers and we start talking about inclusion and we start talking opportunity, where do those numbers line up?
It's not fair. I will definitely admit
so number wise, how many head coaches that are Black have those opportunities? Like, what does that number look like?
Well, like I said, there's only two who fit into the same conversation or category as Nash. Okay. Every team, there's 30 teams. Okay. Every team has at least 2 or 3 assistant coaches. And usually there's at least one minority, one Black coach on the bench who is learning how to be a head coach and seeing the program from start to finish. Knowing how you handle a roster, handling certain conversations, offense, defense, the off season, all of that plays a role into becoming a head coach. And that's where these first timers who have not had that background experience, they kind of lack that. But if you hire the right personnel, the right assistant coach, which is something that he did do, you kind of get over that hump as far as lack of experience, knowing how to handle a roster.
But when you start talking about equal, opportunity, why not open it up? Why not say, hey, you know what, we're considering this, but we know there's two other possible people. Our preference would be Steve Nash. Why not open it up so that he can actually prove that, okay, we were going to go with him? Why just say, you know what, we're going to rule all that out the table and we're going to pick so-and-so and not give everybody who could have been interested in that opportunity with that lineup to actually apply for the job? Because then you could rule it out and say, we didn't like what he was saying about X, Y, and Z. We didn't think he would fit into our organization because of beliefs and such, whatever the case may be. But now all you have is, we're going to pick him. Just helps the argument along.
I'm not disagreeing with you. Right. That would be the fair thing. I definitely believe in fairness. And if I had to say anything, it goes back to that difficult conversation of who you're comfortable with. Who is the owner or the GM comfortable with? And that's what it boils down to sometimes. I'm more comfortable with this candidate. So I'm not going to follow all of these other fairness type of rules or protocols that we normally would follow because I know that I probably would not be able to get away or be able to justify this hire.
Okay. Well, there you have it. We talked about that like months ago, so I kind of sprung that on him because he did not know that I was going to bring that up.
And it's all right.
It is. And what really segued that for me to go back to that was just looking at the opportunity with like Tiffany Haddish to host and how, they, that whole, come and do it for some exposure, but we don't want to pay you when we know these hosts get paid. And just when you start talking about these rare opportunities and how we are talking about, leveling the playing field. And when we're talking about equality, talking about shared resources where everybody has access to it, that would be an opportunity that I would have hoped other people would have had the access to. So often, there's this formality that happens where they'll be like, oh, we'll go ahead and do it, but we already know who we got in mind. I think most people do that. But it was just one of those things that, again, allow for the conversation to happen. And so I'm all for like when things happen and it's kind of like, well, dang, that's jacked up. It gives us an opportunity to talk about it, even though we're uncomfortable. And the thing I want to leave you all with is, if there's so much, if there's no road back from redemption, when people actually make mistakes, people are going to do their absolute best to hide them. And that's the reason why there's one of the reasons why we can't get any further along with learning, because so many people feel ashamed and we kind of condemn them. And, we in this social media world, it goes, boop, and then you could just, your whole life could be crumbling like within 20 minutes of a viral anything. Right. But just being able to say, you know what, I don't know if Jason Whitlock will ever change his mind because he's been on that road for a minute. But if he happens to have a road to Damascus experience, I'm willing to hear it out. Jason Whitlock, I actually talked to you. All right, y'all. I appreciate you all joining me. And Lincoln, thank you for coming on and saving me.
Anytime.
I appreciate it because y'all.
It's great to be on vacation.
I know.
I'm glad to just be like, man, you know what? I don't even need to watch this. I don't have to.
How many hours a day you say you work?
10 to 12.
I'm thinking it's more like 15, but okay. All righty. Y'all enjoy your vacation and your holidays, and thank you for joining.